Welcome everybody to the next in the Super Star Wars Legacy. Welcome to the Super Empire Strikes Back, or as it's actually named, Super Star Wars Super Empire Strike Back. That's literally the actual title of it. Welcome everybody to our next Let's Play, and this one, I'm not even gonna lie, it's post-commentary, and even then my hands are shaking. This is considered to be, if not the hardest game on the Super Nintendo, it is in the top 5. Most lists that I've ever seen either put it number 1 or it's in the top 5 somewhere.
It's really friggin' hard.
It's really friggin' hard. I mean, the Game Grumps, they didn't even last 2 levels.
That's true.
And then they were done. So let's go and open this up. So Drak and Shadow are going to take this on, but as you guys can see, we're taking it on in the dreaded easy difficulty. Guys,
Episode 5.
Easy is not easy.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Who's your radio announcer, man?
Dateline 3, ABY. I've been thinking about that for a minute. It is a dark time for the rebellion. Although the Death Star has been destroyed, Imperial troops have driven rebel forces from their hidden base, and have pursued them across the galaxy. Evading the dreaded Imperial Starfleet, a group of freedom fighters led by Luke Skywalker has established a new secret base on the remote ice world of Hoth. The evil Lord Darth Vader, obsessed with finding young Skywalker, has dispatched thousands of remote probe droids into the far reaches of space.
Go get them, fellas! Alright, I don't really need to point this out. The plot of Empire Strikes Back follows the plot of Empire Strikes Back.
You don't say.
The difference is like with what you guys saw in Super Star Wars, and I'll link the playlist in the description below. You will get some very unusual bosses, which probably actually have Star Wars influence to them. And this one's no different. In fact, some of the silliest references in this series are in this one. We will come across them later in the game, but I think even Alex will have a nice...
Wow, that ship just flew fast.
Mode 7! That's a Mode 7 Star Destroyer right there. Eat that, Captain Falcon. All right, so we are seeing the first scenes of Empire Strikes Back, where the probe lands on Hoth.
Man, who would love to live there?
Not you.
Definitely not me.
I can guarantee that.
Definitely not me.
So as you'll notice, we can start things off with the lightsaber, unlike Super Star Wars, which stayed true to the story, and you didn't get it until later. The difference is that in this game, they added on to the rarity factor by giving force powers to Luke, which you can acquire later when you do travel to Dagobah. But they also did not like the fact that there was not a sense of uniqueness to Han and Chewie, and therefore gave them special abilities along with Luke. Echo 3 to Echo Base. Han, old buddy, can you read me? Come in. There's a meteorite that hit the ground near here. I want to check it out. It won't take long. And for the record, for those who don't know what that's actually called, and there are Star Wars fans that don't, it's called a Tauntaun.
Which is hard to miss because they say it many times in Empire.
I actually met a guy who thought their name was Moffat. Moffat. That's why he thought it was. He thought it was like a Pokemon thing.
Sounds like a Muppet name.
Well, it sounds like a Pokemon kind of thing, doesn't it? It was like, Moffat. So at that point, yeah, Moffat, he's saying his name. But no, it's a Tauntaun. And you can actually use the Tauntaun. It gives you full health right off the bat. But it can die. And if it dies, then you got to go through the level on your own. So this is basically a spare health bar, is the way to look at it.
That's always nice.
The other thing, too, that this game did not let you do compared to Super Star Wars, you cannot hoard thermal detonators. Now the thermal detonators are a rare power-up that you only get a certain amount of time to utilize, otherwise you lose the thermal detonator completely.
Well, that's a bummer.
Well, again, adding on to the difficulty of the game. They didn't need to add on to it, it's already incredibly difficult. Trust me.
And
Very nice, Adam.
I did this because there's actually a secret in this level. And I couldn't remember which pit it's in, so... There you go. Let's put the death count up. Death count 1. Actually, no. I'd probably go with something a little bit more like, oh no! I'll go dig out Captain America's no.
No, I should use the Knuckles oh no from Sonic Adventure. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I like that, but at the same time, I also like the Captain America. No. We'll find a hilarious one to be able to go and do that. Maybe I'll go get the Sonic Adventure Sonic one, which is like no.
No, it's more of a no.
No, there's actually one that he records like when he's not the boss fight, but he's like an AI character like in Tales where he's like no.
What the heck? Is this?
Yep, this is a secret. So you actually can get a couple of lives out of this, a couple of health swords, and also some health if you need it, or blaster power-ups. Because remember, this is just like Super Star Wars. You start off at blaster, but you can upgrade up to... I'm going to make sure that I say these right. Flame, Seeker, Rapid Ion, and then Plasma. It's all right, man. This crap happens. But if you die, you lose all your blaster upgrades.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind, guys. But the cool part is that the extra lives don't disappear from that pit, I don't think. It's almost like this game was being lenient from you from the beginning and saying, yeah, I'm pretty hard. And I'd just like to once again reemphasize, the Game Grumps didn't get past actually probably third level. Because they did make it to a cave, but they didn't get past Hoth. And, well, neither did most of the general gaming populace. But you can actually go outside of Hoth. It takes half of the game to get through it. This game has a whopping 22 levels in it compared to the, I think it was 12 to 14 Super Star Wars had. So holy crap, everybody.
So then how do you get out of the pit?
Well, it's an invisible platform, so all you gotta do is just jump back up. This is actually a very similar glitch that I showed off in Super Castlevania 4, where there's like an invisible platform where you can get all 100% hearts plus double, triple weapon, and I think it even gives you the cross.
Very nice.
So that's the way that you beat Dracula, roughly. As you can see, I'm having massive lag, and unfortunately, we'll just be honest here, I'm not playing this on Virtual Console or anything like that. I am playing this on an emulator. I was actually really disappointed too, because somebody reached out and said, you know what, I just barely heard that Super Empire alone made PS4. And they were lying.
Of course.
Because it ain't nowhere near it.
Of course they were.
I was like, dude, because like my first red flag on that obviously is you put Super Empire, but you didn't put Super Return or Super Star Wars. I think people would want the set.
Oh yeah.
And the only time I've ever seen the set come up was on the Wii Virtual Console, and it was limited, like the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. So you couldn't get that probably years later after the Wii shop has officially ended, which we can confirm has ended. Oh, and look, even more spikes and all that fun stuff to worry about. But thankfully we have the Seekers, so nothing is really going to become a major problem for us. For now.
For now.
So people might notice, yes, I am using my thermal detonators right off the bat. The timer's not that long. And in some cases, it's, when there's not any enemies on the screen, it's really not even worth it to go and get it. This is where it gets complicated, because now we have tons of Hoth pits. And just already in my head, I'm cringing. Just watching. I'm not even playing this, guys. I'm cringing. Because this was so hard to get through. To make work.
Enter cave.
Enter cave. Now, technically, you can kill the Tauntaun.
Why would you?
I couldn't make it work in the emulator, but like in the Super Nintendo version, you can kill the Tauntaun.
Why would you kill it?
Well, obviously to sleep in it during the night.
That's true.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside. So here is level 3. This is about as far as the Game Grumps got, and thankfully you guys don't have to worry about it because
we're going all the way, bitches.
We're going all the way, bitches. We're gonna do what the Game Grumps could not. Now, here's the funny part. There are going to be points where it's actually very encouraged that you stick with blasters.
There he is, blast him.
As you can see, like, the gameplay looks kind of familiar now that you've seen a few games with it, right, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
Looks very Contra.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, the lightsaber isn't very Contra. So you really do actually need to play this like Contra.
Ooh,
Well,
nice
I'm surprised you
save.
didn't die there.
I am a Jedi. I don't die. I simply ascend to becoming a Force ghost.
So be it, Jedi.
Crap! I was looking for the alligator. I was like, you shall strike me down, and I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. But I mean, first, I guess the first thing that I wanna get into with this, with you specifically, Alex, is, I mean, you saw Super Star Wars, and if I remember correctly, you were actually really happy with how it looked.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Empire?
Well, I played...
Which came out 6 months later.
Yeah, I played Super Empire a little bit before in my childhood.
That's the part that should blow your mind. This thing came out 6 months later. Literally, like the Super Star Wars came out in the summer, and then early winter the next year was Super Empire.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, games back then weren't as difficult to make.
They weren't as difficult to make, but movie license games, obviously, this was around the time when they didn't have that popularity, and this is considered to be probably one of the better movie tie-in iterations that came out of that generation entirely.
Well, when did this game come out?
It was early 90s, and the other
the special edition would have been released on videotape again for that time.
No, this was before special editions.
No, special edition's been around forever, dude.
Well, which special edition are you talking about?
I'm talking about like the one in the early 90s, because
we're not talking about the CG-ified ones, right?
I'm not talking the ones that made it to DVD in 2005, essentially.
Yes,
but I'm talking about the videotape / laser discs release.
And this came around. I want to say that the tapes came out a little after Super Empire, because they were out by the time Return happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Return, actually, it didn't. I think that took an additional couple of months. The other cool part, and I've said it before in Super Star Wars, and I'm going to say it here again because it's awesome to me. The company that made the Super Star Wars trilogy, literally in our backyard. Sculpture Software Works, I believe is their name. They literally created the Super Star Wars trilogy in the Salt Lake Valley.
Nice.
So this is a local grown game. And I am always happy to say that, because it's very rare when we can actually say that.
It's kind of funny considering EA once upon a time had a company out here.
Oh yeah, they had a division out here. And in fact...
But they're EA and they don't like companies, so they just,
right?
They make them...
Did they own Avalanche, the people who did Disney Infinity?
I thought they did. I think they did actually own
I wish we
Avalanche.
had Aldo here. But yeah, because Avalanche was based out of here. And that's why our buddy Aldo actually got to beta test the Marvel expansion into that, is because he was working there at the time. So that's another thing that I really do like about this game, is like it's considered one of the most beloved adaptations from the gaming world, and that's saying a lot, since a lot of movie adaptations, as we've shown, don't necessarily get a lot of praise.
Yeah.
And this is one that does, even though it's painfully difficult, as you guys can see. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Again, I'm trying to get myself off the cringe factor, but every jump that you make just scares you, especially when you have like these pockets of air that can take you into these secret areas. Like, oh, is this going to be the one that kills me because I'm going to hit a spike pit at the top? And yes, you can die that way. You can die in lots
It's a big
of ways.
death trap.
This game is an entire metal death trap. Okay, so that should boost us up to Rapid Ion. So now I have a little bit more of a machine gun kind of energy. Yay! So yeah, anyway, so you're saying you do like the look of the game.
Yeah, because I played it before.
Yeah. And yet you don't have post-traumatic stress from it?
Not
You lucked out, sir. Like, all of us got
How
it.
far did you get, Alex?
I recall getting...
And here is our first boss. You'll appreciate this one, Alex, because it is...
That's the Wampa.
The Wampa King.
Yeah.
Not the Wampa, the Wampa King.
Yeah, I recall getting...
This is technically supposed to be the Wampa that got Luke.
Yeah.
But now, because, we've seen Wampas and things like Super Shadows of the Empire and all that, it's the King of Wampas, because only the King of Wampas could capture a Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so on.
Yeah, so I recall we got to Darth Vader. Now, to be fair, it's been a long time. I don't remember how we did it. We might have had passcodes or something. I don't know. We probably did. I do remember it being ridiculously hard.
Because like I've said in the
game.
in the Super...
We didn't own it, but a friend of mine had it, or He had it or he rented it, I don't recall, but I remember playing it with him and his brother, and we played it the hell out of it and got to Darth Vader.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's why I didn't remember it.
Because I've told the story, like, my brother worked all the way up to Darth Vader, and it's the only time I've ever seen my brother have a legit rage. And, like, throw the controller and almost destroy the $200 console he bought was when he fought Darth Vader in Super Empire. And to this day, I double-checked with him. He still hasn't beaten it. And he has no intention of going back. But he did tell me that he actually got to the Emperor in Super Return and said screw that at that point, too. So there you go, we have killed the mighty Wampa King, and now the Wampas may no longer have a king. For them, I guess. And what are the reasons you... So we're back, and yeah, I was talking about Kenzie having legit... My older brother Kenzie having legit rage from Darth Vader, and that's just because he worked all the way there. It's literally the last boss in the game, and he is a pain in the butt. It's, you know, that's saying something, because Andrea, you know him, and he doesn't really get angry that much.
Oh, yeah.
But this was legit rage.
And you won't like him when he's angry.
No, you won't like my brother when he's angry. But that's what this series actually did for a lot of people, is like they love Star Wars, but they will never touch this game because of the sheer pain that it causes. So, Andrea, what are your thoughts on Super Empire, since this is probably your first time seeing it?
I would say I can't believe such a game is like this could be so hard.
And yet it is.
Why is it so hard?
Well, it makes you kind of question how games...
Well, the entire series is considered hard, but this is the hardest.
Yeah.
Because the funniest thing is, like, I've literally seen people do top 10 SNES games, or hardest SNES games, that literally 3 of the spots were Super Star Wars games. So Super Return, Super Star Wars, and Super Empire all made the list.
You know, that seems to be the thing back in the day with any video game sequel. Any, like, part 2 would always, like, exceptionally ramp up the difficulty. I mean,
But another common thing is seeing a lot of movie adaptations in those lists.
Well, we know, but, you know, Mario 2, you had Mario 2, which was hard, and I'm talking Japanese Mario 2, not Doki Doki Panic reskinned Mario 2.
Yes.
And,
although Mario 2 has made lists like that, too.
Yeah, but
Zelda 2 was really hard.
Donkey Kong Country
Contra?
2 was...
That's pretty hard, I think.
Which one?
Donkey Kong Country 2.
A lot,
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like harder than the first and
we're
third for
we're
some
talking
reason.
our hardest SNES games. Yeah, so Super Contra makes it.
You know,
there's
Sonic
a lot
2
in
on
there.
Game Gear is ridiculously hard.
Just trying to think of like the hardest Genesis games, and the problem is, like, hardest Genesis games, most of the ones that make that list are broken in some way. Like, they're unbeatable unless you literally cheat to win. It's almost like, this is gonna sound really mean,
It's almost
but it's almost like they took EA took a note from them and therefore designed their games that way from there on in.
Oh my god, it's brilliant considering EA was like the first
We've
to...
solved the mystery, Alex.
EA was like the first to successfully reverse engineer the Sega Genesis hardware so that they could make games for it without the need to get a Sega license, so...
Oh my gosh, we
Even
cracked the code. Illuminati confirmed it.
So all I can say is even back then EA were horrible.
Yes, they really were.
So they pretty much, that's why Sega got so much love with EA Sports, is EA held them over a barrel, because it's like, we reverse engineered your hardware, now what?
Now we'll just make whatever games we want. And what are you gonna do to stop us?
Fine, we'll give you we'll give you exclusive rights to Genesis, EA, Madden, whatever.
Yeah.
That's why EA, like I said, EA Sports got so much love for Genesis, because EA held them over a barrel.
Electronic Arts, screwing you over since the 90s.
Well, it's really funny that, you know, some of these games have actual codes that can go with them, and you're surprised, you know, nowadays you cannot use codes anymore.
You can't use codes anymore, and actually, if you remember, some of those codes were really hard to get, because, like, we didn't have the internet back then.
We didn't have the internet.
You had to have, like, the most recent copy of Electronic Gaming Monthly. Anyway, we'll continue this conversation on in part 2.
You had to get the power, Nintendo power.